most of the luxuries and many of the so-called comforts of life are not only not indispensable, but positive hindrances to the elevation of mankind. Thoreau.
Watch me rising up from the flames, never be the same. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it?
Thank you. Salam alaikum. Здравствуйте. Now that we got здравствуйте, salam alaikum, greetings everyone. Greetings. In America we respond, greetings.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing? Fantastic. So I'll talk to you today about simplicity. How many of you have a phone in this room?
Everybody.
Everyone has a phone. How many of you are tired even though it's a weekend? Oh, you're not tired because you're here. So we'll move on to the next slide. Okay, thank you for that introduction. I needed my computer. Nuslam, where's your computer? All right, so I said, what's the why? Why am I here? So I have my master's in business administration from State University of New York. I have my PhD also international development. For my PhD, I received a Fulbright to Tajikistan. I was there for a year and a half, and then I lived in Macedonia, Eastern Europe. But the question is why on a screen? Why am I here? Why was I invited? I teach here at the IAU, which is in partnership with the British, the Royal Agricultural University. And then my students, I get connected with them. So one of the students, I didn't know he was coming, he's here taking pictures with the camera. I had a chance to travel with them to Maldives for Sustainable Development, the UN conference.
That teacher from Maldives?
Maldives,
Oh,
yes. So we went to Maldives. I remember at the airport, the mom said, oh, Omin, take care of my son. That's your son. So we did that. That connection ended up, here. Being invited to talk, I had a chance to meet with the person in charge of this. Yes, I had a chance to meet with them. So I'm just saying, why am I here? Connection means a lot. Connectivity, whether it's by phone or in person, you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional in the way we live life. So today's presentation, we'll look at the role, and we'll go to the next slide. So before we discuss is rethinking modernity, are you familiar with what you see on the screen?
With what?
Are you familiar with what you see on the screen? Are you familiar with the phones? Are you familiar with the busy life? We are often so busy, we forget that we exist in this realm. We become so busy that we put most of our energy to unnecessary places or events. So we look at modernity in life, often defined by concept of technology. Who knows about AI? Everyone. So technology is evolving. As of today, we have new AI 5.5 was released, right? And yesterday, and we have Google. So we are very much busy. I've seen people when I walk, they're just on the phone and they run into a tree, run into someone. We need to be conscious about life. So we see that technology can be a distractor, but technology can add value into our lives. Technology is making things faster, quicker, our data, but we need to take a step away and breathe. Take a step away and breathe. So my question is, what does success look like for an Uzbek woman, a man? What is success? We define our own success as human beings, but tell me, what does success look like to you?
To be happy.
To be happy. Anyone else? What is success to you? Is it happy? Happiness? Okay, good. Achievements? Being healthy. Is it family success? Is it buying a BYD or Tesla, right? Is it having a big house? Maybe it's graduating. Maybe success means being in a family, being a good woman, raising a family with your husband. But we define our own success. So in the busyness of life, sometimes we might forget who we are. There is strong pressure to work hard and succeed and achieve everything. We keep moving. We don't pause. Is it money? Is success money? Right, so those are the, yes? However, this raises an important question. Does efficiency, when we work, does that lead to a meaningful life? Today's question is, what is a meaningful, purposely lived life? What is your purpose? Have you ever even thought about it and asked yourself, what is my purpose in this life? Today, that's what we'll discuss about Thoreau. Let's go, next slide. Where's my Aziz? How are you? Good job. So unconventional thinker, this is the man we're going to talk to you today about. What is unconventional thinker? He offers a different way of understanding success, right? He also focuses on reflection, independence, simplicity. When I was leaving, I realized I had more than 7 pairs of shoes in my house, 10, 11, 12, and I still have some in America. So I thought, because I'm doing this presentation, am I being simplicity? What does simplicity mean to me, right? Am I living a purposely driven life? So we look at that. So his idea challenged our common existence, and we can move forward, of our success, how we define success. So I'll give you thumbs up. Who is this man that we're talking about? He's a philosopher, 1817, born in America, born in Massachusetts. If you ask me which part of United States Massachusetts in the East Coast, it's very cold in the winter, very cold, and it's hot sometimes. So Massachusetts had a lot of leaders in the US, some of them lived there. So he went to Harvard. When he got to Harvard, he met a special friend who I'll share with you later. Right? He met a friend. He is not just a philosopher. He is a writer, someone who's challenging our minds. Right? He is a writer, a poet, a critic of our modern society. And we're talking about him today because his ideas, even though he lived in 1800s, his ideas are still relevant today. What does relevant mean? They're still relevant, meaning we can look and see a commonality. We can look and see and relate to today's world. All right, so a philosopher, a writer, a poet. Where is he from? Which part of the United States? Huh? Massachusetts. Oh, you even said it right. Thank you. In my classes, I like to engage. So I'll be asking you questions, so don't feel offended. I welcome you to also give me feedback, okay? Thank you. Let's go, Mr. Aziz. So who was this man that we're talking about? I talked already about poet. His father was to make pencil, right? We use our pencils today's world, right? So he put himself in his shoes, pencil. He applied in his life, in his living life. When you look at your father working as making pencils, sometimes we look at those jobs of craftsmen as simple. Whoa, what happened? As simple. We look at those jobs as simple. But this is a beginning. The Genesis means beginning of his passion. It's a passion of, okay, my father is making pencils, but I'm going to make them better than my father. You are challenging yourself. You are putting an expectation. If you say, oh, my father, Nuruslam, said, my father went to university, but I'm going to go and get a PhD. You are putting a target where you want to be, how you're going to get there, right? And if you have good friends, they'll help you to achieve that dream. What dream? Oh, you want to be a doctor? Okay, we'll help you. You want an internship at FAO, UN, at AGRA? They help you because they understand you. So it's good to surround yourself with people that understand your craft, your work. And it's not just pencil. Pencil is a symbol of a dream. You know, in the US, if someone asks me, are you coming to today's Plof talk? I'm like, pencil me in. Pencil me in. That means I might come, I might not come. Because it's easy to erase a pencil with a rubber. If I say write me in with a pen, that means it's kind of permanent. I'm coming. That's why I came. At first we wanted to do it last week. I said pencil me in, right? So a pencil is a symbol that you can erase, but it's a symbol of your success, where you want to go. And let's keep moving. Fantastic. Remember I shared with you that he met a friend, Ralph Emerson. Ralph Emerson was also a Harvard. So this young man living at home, born in Massachusetts, father's making a pencil, said, oh my goodness, let me go to Harvard. Any one of you have ever heard of Harvard University? Huh? You ever heard? Is it a good university? Yes, one of the top universities in the world. So he met a friend back then and they became friends. And this man was, we're not going to talk about transcendentalist, which is a civil empowerment, so we won't talk about that. But what is important in this slide is that he met a philosopher who emphasized of self-awareness. What is self-awareness? That means I'm aware of who I am. I know my values. I know my culture. I'm self-aware, and you cannot, I know my values, right? So I'm aware of that. So this man was, as a friend, I told you, it's important to surround yourself with people that value your dreams, that want to support you positively, not negatively. So we also see that he highlights the importance of deep reflection of nature. What is nature? Can you share with me what is nature? What is nature? What is it? Environment, the lake, the rivers, the water, the sun, everything that is natural, that is nature. So we know that deep reflection of nature, and now he has a friend. Let's see what this friend is going to do in the future. Mr. Laziz, keep us going. Abolitionists. What does abolition mean? Meaning we are abolishing. We say no to this. For example, I'm trying to see. I'm trying to give an example in Uzbekistan. I can find one to get rid of. So abolitionists in America is associated with slavery. So slavery means enslaving people, treating people like animals, like they're your property. He stood up for that. Even today, as I'm reading his books, I see that the sisters, they formed what they call Concord Female Anti-Slavery. That means you're against what's going on. Anti-abolitionist, you are protesting. Right now, you're protesting through Instagram, Telegram, and the messages go really quick, really fast, right? So when you protest, so we're meeting that distraction, as you can see. He went back home because of his family members who abolished it. They actually inspired him. He said, "You're taking my time." If you read his book, you're taking my time away from reading, from writing, because you're protesting. But guess what? We see that his sisters inspired him with this movement. So a movement that I'll talk later about civil disobedience, meaning you're a renegade, you're against the system, you're like, no, I'll protest. So let's continue moving. All right, here's it. So we know that this man was born in Massachusetts, then went to Harvard and met a friend, and he needed to take time away. This was a journey, a self-reflective journey. In 1845, he moved to a small cabin, the wooden pond. But who gave him the land? He didn't have land. He had family, right? Sisters. The friend that he met at Harvard gave him an area where he could sleep. And it was very intentional. He's away from everyone else for 2 years. 2 years doesn't seem like a long time, but if you're in college, it seems like it's a long, long, long time, right? So he lived like a simple life. During that time, it was a time of reflecting, understanding, do I need the phone? Do I need a computer? Do I need 20 pairs of shoes? And as time went by while he lived there, everything became small. He got rid of things he didn't want. This is a journey of reflecting. Have you ever paused and looked at what you had and said, do I need this? Has any one of you ever paused? So he paused, and 2 years is a long time. As he did that, he lived well, and Emerson was the one who invited him to his wife, and he never got married. If you read so many books, this man was engaged, but immediately said, no, we're not engaged anymore. So he died as a bachelor, right? So we get to his death. He died as a bachelor. He never got married, but he understood the importance of life. This is a journey. It's a testing ground. Do I need what I have, or I don't need what I have? So anyway, let's move forward, Mr. Aziz. Good job. Oh, go back 1 second. So I want to see, this is a room. Go back a little. Are you able to go back or no? Yes, this is a room in a cabin, and this is at the bottom. This is actually a life warden or life in the woods. This is a book that he wrote. If you're interested in reading, if you're interested in exploring, you're welcome. So this is something small, minimalist that he went through. So let's move forward. So deliberate living life, you believe in people should be intentional in living. Intentional, that means you have a purpose. You have a purpose. You're intentional. Are you intentional in your way you live life? Are you intentional? Those are the questions. So we see also the destruction of the nature. He examined the destruction of the nature. Reducing materials, which I already talked. Fewer needs, simplicity. What does simplicity mean to you? Who is adding to your value in life? These are the questions that he is allowing us to evoke. He is inviting us to question the government, inviting us to question our professors, inviting us to question every system. We cannot just accept everything that's presented to you. You have to question. And sometimes we forget that we have the power. The voice is a power. You have to question everything. Is this good or bad, right? So he's allowing us in a simple way. And he's saying that human being, you have to balance nature. When he was in the woods for 2 years, he only worked 1 day, by the way, 1 day a week. Sometimes we work 7 days a week, and we can accomplish everything in 1 day. He was able to work in 1 day and just sit and enjoy nature. Nature is created for us. Enjoy it and realize simple life is better. There we go, simplicity. I highlighted this before, just allowing fewer things. And when you reflect, when you are alone in the woods, it becomes you, between you and the nature. It becomes a life and a story between you and the nature. Who else? You're not arguing with anybody, right? You're not continuously comparing. Now, when we're born, as soon as we know life is a competition, it's a speed of light. We are competing with each other. Who has a better phone? Who has a better iPhone? Who has a better shoes, a shirt? Competition takes over us because that's what the world is all about, competing. But do we really need to compete? Anyway, let's move on. Thanks, Mr. Laziz. All right, so I put this in an Uzbek paradox. When we talk about living simple, simplicity, I'll bring it home to Uzbekistan. I lived in Tajikistan, as I shared, and I was in a svadba in Tajikistan. I was a maid of honor. You know, in Tajikistan, I don't know if they do this. I haven't been to an Uzbek wedding. I had to go like this. Yeah, I was the maid of honor. I did this to everyone. I did this. So, but my friend, Sitora, was my roommate in New York when we were in school. She was getting married, and I was a maid of honor. But what is important is they spent so much money for the wedding. So I'm bringing it to Uzbekistan because I have heard my students share that. Important because you work so hard for 2 years in Europe, in Germany, in America. Then you spend all these years to buy a sofa or something, or spend it on a wedding. And let me give you another example. You buy your smartphone, right? We have smartphone, you spend so much money, the iPhone. And now, in the US, when you buy a phone, we have monthly payment, right? Monthly payment, my phone. Well, not this one. Not this one. You have monthly payment. You are a slave to that person. If you buy a house, you owe, you have interest rate you owe. So you become that person. But is it necessary, right? Is it necessary for you to do that? So I just wanted to talk. Some people have efforts, second property, Chimgan, in the mountains. Oh, I'll go with my family, right? Sometimes, and the question is, do you really need that place? I'm not sure how Uzbek government and housing works. So I don't know how it works, but I wanted to bring it home. Let's talk about time. Time is money. We always say that in America. You want my time? You want me to give you my time? You better have value into that. Time is money. So he's looking at it as time is money. He's questioning whether people who work many hours often are happy. Do they really need to work that many hours? So he's encouraging to consider how we value time. Your friends should not be wasting your time. We all have 24 hours. We all have 24 hours in our time. The question is, what are you doing with it? That 24 hours. What are you doing with it? Aziz is like, okay. So I'm putting these pictures, nature as a source of knowledge. I taught a class about biomimicking. Is how we are mimicking how nature reacts. What is nature? So I'll give you an example. In Japan, they have one of the fastest trains in Japan. But they didn't just wake up and say, let's build a train. They looked at the bird, the fastest and most quiet bird. And this is called biomimicking. You mimic nature. So we're looking at this as source of nature. You balance conscious. And he believes that humans, as part of nature, are not separated from nature. Are we separated? That's the question. We eat, we drink, we walk. Are we separated? Thoreau questioned the modern convenience. People often work many hours. Do we need it? I think I repeated that one. So we can move forward to that. Fantastic. Let's look at RSOC. Anyone know the RSOC? Can you raise your hand if you ever heard of RSOC? You have to have heard. It's in Uzbekistan. You've heard of it. What happened? Can someone share with me? Can someone share, student? Sorry? Decrease the area. Okay. Anyone know anything about it? RSOC? Okay, when you leave this room, you should Google, because it's one of the most modern catastrophic that happened in Uzbekistan, in Central Asia. This is a story everyone is writing about, not just today, from before, like 2 years ago. If you are closer, you can see how it's a massive sea, 89, because of irrigation, because we ignored nature. Because of irrigation, this lake became small. Now there's nothing. It's a dried land. So we ignored nature that was communicating to us. Let's use water for irrigation. Let's do this. We did not preserve the nature. So it's dried out. And when you look at it right now, as I'm speaking as of last week, the UNDP has planted almost 1 million trees. It's 838,000 trees to revive, to make it alive. So also see, you have to look at it. And this is an example as the person I'm talking about today, saying we ignore nature. We're not separate from nature. When we ignore things like this happen, humans' decisions can affect the way we act, the way we do, the way we live life. All right? So just wanted to highlight, to bring it home close to Asia. So it's a global issue. When we connect ourselves to nature, it's not your community alone. It's not Uzbekistan. It's a global issue. So as humans, we need to communicate with nature. We need to understand what nature is doing and how can we move forward, how can we preserve and not destroy. All right, sir, go ahead. Okay, community's power. So we see that Thoreau is emphasizing self-resilience. And here I'll introduce a community in Uzbekistan, such as, you know Mahala? What is Mahala? Sorry? Oh, who said something?
Community of neighbors.
Community of neighbors. So do you support each other in a community of neighbors? You are there as a family. So, oh yeah, I put Uzbek stuff. So this perspective, they work today because stronger society, we're stronger together. We fight, let's say, a community that works together, that support each other is stronger. So he's allowing us to look at what's today. So we're bringing his ideas. Thoreau's ideas is in Uzbekistan. Mahalia, we're supporting each other. If we have no electricity, we don't have electricity. If I need some salt and sugar and everything is closed, I'm going to ask my neighbor. I'm part of that. You are part of that. You are part of the community. So the way you run the community, help each other, it says something about it. Let's look at this. So here we are looking at responsibility. This is Thoreau believes that people should act accordingly to their conscience. What is your conscience? Your conscience is what's in your heart, what's in your mind, right? If you have a dream to be a doctor, a dream to be a dentist, it's in your heart, but when you consciously, you make a decision to do that, people will support you. So what is ethical? what is right and wrong, right? Uzbekistan. For example, in a teacher class in agriculture, they said, oh, we need to have halal on products, right? Meat, halal. But I had another student, Aslan. He shared that there are people who have fake labels. You see, that's right and wrong. They're fake labels they just put on the meat, even if it's halal or not. They pop, 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 so they can get money. So for me, I think those people should be arrested. But it tells us what are your ethical values. People should act accordingly, right? People should act accordingly. So we need to look at ethicals, yeah? Let's see. Ooh, he spent the night in jail. What happened? So this is a man living in the woods. He went to Harvard. He refused to pay taxes. Can you say no? What would happen in Uzbekistan if you say no to paying taxes? What would happen? Aziz, since you've been pressing, what would happen to you if you don't pay taxes? Okay. Nusram, what will happen to you? If you don't, if you refuse, you go to jail too, right? Okay. See, so he refused to pay taxes, but he had a reason. Because the taxes were supporting the war, division. He said, I'm not paying my taxes, so they arrested him. That's what is called civil disobedience. When you disobey, which is disobedient, you disobey, that means you say no. If your father say, hey, come home at 5 p.m., you come home at 12 midnight. You are disobeying. You're being a renegade. You're just saying, okay, I'll do whatever I want. If your teacher say, hand in your homework by 5 p.m., it's not disobedient. I think it's disorganization. You hand it 9 p.m. So disobedient to the society, you pay taxes, right? You pay taxes. So let's move forward and see. Ooh, what did civil disobedience became one of the most important essays that he wrote. After being jailed, he believed that people should obey law. You should not just say yes to the law. You should question and say no sometimes. In 2011, if we see in our Middle East, including Egypt, with the computers, the telephone, it became the uprising, and women were in the forefront. This is 2011. Feel free to Google after this. So what did this civil disobedience inspire? He said, citizens have the moral duty. You have the moral duty to question your elected officials, your government, even your parents. Moral duty. It is your duty. You have to do it. So who did he inspire? One of the greatest people, Mahatma Gandhi. Where did I think I might did it by accident. Mahatma Gandhi. Anyone knows Gandhi from India? Fantastic. Nelson Mandela, who won a Nobel Peace Prize from South Africa, became the first black president in 1991, elected. Him and de Klerk, who was Dutch, they both won Nobel Peace Prize. I think de Klerk just passed away. Do you know who they are? Do you know Nelson Mandela? All right. South Africa, yeah, so he won. And Rosa Parks, the only woman I put on this slide, Rosa Parks refused to get off the bus. The bus was meant for the elite, for the white people in America, and she said, I'm not getting off the bus. It inspired, this civil disobedience inspired many people who have changed our world today. Let's look, oh, this is Mahatma Gandhi, the first picture. Martin Luther King in the US. We even have January 15th is a holiday in America because of this same civil disobedience person was influenced by MLK. We see that civil disobedience can take you to jail. Sometimes you have to know when to say no, when to say yes. Countries are different. But today we're talking about Thoreau and how he did. So he's like influence justice movement throughout the world. We have Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Rosa Parks, I'm trying to see who else, MLK. So we can move forward. A reflection, but before we move to reflection, what is one thing that you can do and get arrested in Uzbekistan? Please enlighten me. One thing if I say no in Uzbekistan and I could get arrested. How can I get arrested in Uzbekistan? That's the question. What is one thing that will get me arrested?
Corruption.
Corruption? How do you know corruption is corrupt?
By law.
By law, okay. What else would get me arrested? You,
Drinking and driving.
which one? Drinking, drinking and driving. So I told my student, you know, when I come to the airport, when they stamp, salamabo, when they stamp my passport is an agreement between Dr. Grace and Uzbekistan. I have to follow the rules, the laws of the country, right? But also it's an agreement between me and the United States and where I'm going. So you have to be sure when you enter or when you go in different community, different mahala, you understand how they run. So we're looking at Thoreau, looking at incidents of an agreement between government, between people, and we should not accept anything. We shouldn't be, but we can accept it quietly, but we have to question. Peace of mind, minimalistic. We don't need everything we think we need. That's what he's saying. His philosophy actually reminds you of Socrates. Socrates, one of the greatest philosophers. When I teach, I think of him because he is critically massaging your brain, telling you to think outside the box. You know, we teach students, but we can be, I ask my students, sometimes I'm like, what's your name? I feel like they want to look at Google, what is my name? AI, right? But we are teaching them to think critically. The goal is for you to function after you leave university, to function and represent that university. So that's why he's allowing us to think. That's why I'm thinking of Socrates. We are getting out of this comfort zone, this box that we're used to. You know, comfort is not always easy. Oh, comfort is easy, but uncomfortable conversation, uncomfortability means something. So we have to take ourselves outside the box. So he he encourages people to live. One more. Just go back a little. Yes. So I want to invite you. So he invited us to reflect on our values and responsibility. What is value of Uzbekistan? I have seen Uzbek people family-oriented. Sometimes if I compare with our American culture, we're very individualist. Who's your family? It's me, my kids, and my husband, right? Here is Baba, Dedo, Hola, Ocha, Apa, everyone else, right? Everyone is a family. We coexist together. So he invited us to reflect on our values. And family is an Uzbek value. As shashlik, as pulov. That's why he's even putting pulov talk. So these things allow us to know who we are. If I go to New York, where I live, and someone's like, oh, come for pulov, I know they're from Central Asia. You know, if they say come for kebab, it's different shashling, right? So you know where people are coming from by the language and the way they use stuff. So let's go to our reflection further. So I want to highlight that his books has been published in 20 volumes. These are essays, right? The writing. And a lot of people are presenting and reading because we're inspired by simplicity in this today's world where everything is fast-paced. Internet, the buses, BYDs, everything is changing. He is allowing us to look at simplicity. Very remarkable. And also I want to share that he died young, 44 years old. But back in the day, 44 years old was like, oh my goodness, right? He died young of tuberculosis, which is TB. We call it TB. 44 years old. He died home with his family, under his family care. When he passed away, his work has been really inspiring, especially people who understand what simplicity, what nature means. Can you speak to nature? Can you be just surrounded by the water and the trees? Can you survive? Can you be just happy with that? So I want to see, according to research and data, his final words was, now comes good sailing. Sailing is like you're sailing away on a boat. Now comes good sailing. Because sometimes we don't predict death, right? But he was sick for a long time, for over a year. It was serious, and then he passed away. So next one, Mr. Leslie. All right, let's look at relevance. Thoreau's ideas remain important in today's society. They apply to sustainability, ethical, and decision-making. What are your ethics? It encourages us to question and challenge the world in different ways. Like I said, it reminds me of Socrates in many, many, many ways. So what then represent a thinking way? Encourages intentional living. What is living intentionally? I asked this question earlier. What is your idea of living? Right? You're young, most of you are young, but we have to question ourselves and invite us to reflect on our values and responsibility. What is your responsibility in your community? What is the responsibility of your teacher? What is your responsibility as a student? We are all responsible for something. Someone might be living in a big mansion and also in a small wooden, like Thoreau did, in a small wooden place. You can still have different dreams and achieve where you're going and what you want. Let's go to our last slide. Maybe not last. So I want to leave you today to remember that simplicity may mean something to you. But it is good to reflect and question every step that we take, every step in your life. Reflect it. So let me read this quote, right? If a man does not keep pace with his companion, perhaps it is because he hears different drummer. Let him step into the music he hears, however measured. In other words, near or far. So I'll read the part I want to emphasize. If a man, and man is a woman too, okay? If a man does not keep pace, you don't keep pace, I'm walking too fast, right? If a man does not keep pace with his companion, perhaps it is because he hears different drummers. What is your drum today? What drum are you hearing? You want to be a leader, a CEO, a consultant, a doctor. That is your drum. What music are you hearing? What music is calling you? Perhaps you don't need to be part of the journey with everyone else. Perhaps you have to find your own road. A road less taken, like Robert Frost's poem. A road less traveled. Perhaps that's what you need to do. Our last one. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I welcome your questions. I don't know, our leader will take us to our ever. It's been a pleasure meeting y'all. But what is your drum? What are you hearing? What is your music? What is singing in your ear? I know 100% is not like everyone next to you. You have your own drums and music. So, thank you.